Now, if you're a fan of the channel, you've probably seen a video of mine that was the Speed Twin 1200. So this motorcycle is kind of similar to that, but they call it the Thruxton. I love the rear plastic fender piece. It's got the number 100 on it, and it's a special edition. So he has done a couple of modifications to the motorcycle, especially the rear end. As you can see here, it looks a little bit different, and there might be other things that you may notice, but I'm not necessarily going to notice. This bike has a parallel twin 1200 engine, 103 horsepower output for the engine, and then you get a mind-blowing 112 foot-pounds of torque. So these parallel twins are not really meant for top-end speed. They're really more meant for low-end grunt, because it's kind of like a muscle roadster, if you want to call it that. But anyway, we're going to get on it now and go for a ride. Triumph motorcycles are just premium bikes, man. I love Triumph. After you've ridden a few of them, you're like, these are some really well-built quality bikes. And unfortunately, we are low on gas. Got a little gas light up there, so we're gonna have to go get some gas at the station. Then after that, we're gonna take off. I don't know exactly what the wet weight of this motorcycle is, but it's not a very tall bike. And so, therefore, center of gravity is a little bit lower, and it doesn't feel like it's very heavy when you're moving it from side to side. Modern motorcycles are so amazing because they have modern suspension, which changes the geometry and makes things really plush on the road and easily tossable. Look at this thing. This is a muscle roadster, 1200cc bike that's easily tossable. That's what I love. I love motorcycles that are so agile, and you would ride something like this and you wouldn't expect it to be, but it actually is. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's got 112 foot-pounds of torque, and you can immediately feel it. But the gears, I believe they're pretty short, so you'll hit the rev limiter really quickly. Overall, it's a really comfortable bike. It does have clip-ons, but the clip-ons are pretty high up. And this one kind of looks like a cafe racer. It might be one. I don't know. I don't know if Triumph is labeling it as a cafe racer, but I do know that it's a modern classic, and that's the genre that it belongs in. The front windscreen here, not sure if that is third party or if that came with the bike. As I mentioned before, it's got a couple of modifications. I just don't know exactly what, but it's doing a fairly good job at shielding the wind from my helmet, because I don't feel a lot of the wind except on my shoulders and my upper body, but on my head I don't feel a lot of the wind, which is pretty good. That being said, this motorcycle is probably a good bike to ride if you're doing long commutes, you know, 1 or 2 hours. It doesn't get you that tired because it doesn't constantly blow on your helmet. Nice throaty exhaust. Damn, sounds really good. It's got that Harley sound. I don't exactly know Harleys, but I could imagine that they sound kind of similar to this. And if you're a Triumph guy and you don't want to hear that, sorry man. If you don't want to hear me comparing it to a Harley, not that there's anything wrong with Harleys, but you might be a diehard Triumph fan and you're like, what are you comparing this thing to a Harley, man? What's wrong with you? But anyway, it sounds good. That's all I have to say. Time for some gas. So how do you do this? Oh, you gotta twist it. Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. That's it? 2 gallons?
Pull it up a little. You're in too deep.
That's what she said. Oh, no, we're good, man.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we're good. So it's got a small tank, huh? All right, look at that. That was a cool experience. It's nice riding somewhere different on some really cool bikes. Been riding in California for the past 7 years and I haven't ridden anywhere else, but making this a Triumph weekend is my kind of weekend. So anyway, really comfortable bike, a lot of grunt down low. I'm actually doing 40 miles an hour. Feels like I'm doing a little bit faster. You can hear that exhaust. So they're on both sides, so it's kind of like stereo sound. It's got that muscle bike sound, and I love it. Muscle roadster, that's what you want to call it. And I love the clip-ons. You wouldn't expect that in a muscle roadster, but here we go. And this is why I'm thinking like this is more of a cafe racer, than anything else, even though they're not calling this a cafe racer. I guess if they put like a half fairing in the front, then that would be more of a legitimate cafe racer. But I still think it looks pretty cool. It's a stylish bike for sure, especially when you have the colors of the livery and everything. All right, I think these are the highways. Let's go. Oh yeah, he's got the 1200. He's gone. Don't think I can't keep up, buddy. So I can go all the way back, and we can have a nice tuck. It's not exactly a sport bike. We can emulate going into a tuck, so we can cut through this wind. But wide open throttle right here. Hit the rev limiter soon. Doing 130. I think that was max. That was fun. The thing I like about old school bikes, and I'm not saying this is old school because obviously it's 2022, they call this a classic roadster or something classic of the sort, I forgot. But I think part of the classic personality of this bike is having the manual dials. And, you know, a lot of bikes like the one in front of me here, the 1200RR, is dripping with technology, and it's got fancy electronics, it's got a fancy dash with fancy graphics. The old school dials are where it's at for me, man, because easily legible, tell what gear I'm in, I can tell how much gas I have remaining, how many miles are on the odometer, and what the RPM is and how fast I'm going. I mean, what else do I really need to know? And why does it have to be in a full color TFT display like most modern motorcycles? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that once you ride something like that and then you get on something like this, you begin to appreciate the way things were built compared to how they're built now. Now, as I mentioned before, this bike does have an aftermarket exhaust, but the aftermarket exhaust is not too loud, it's not quiet, and no matter what RPM I'm in, I still hear it. It's like a deep rumble right below me. It sounds nice and throaty, I like it. But whenever you do give this thing the beans, like I just did right now, I'm in 6th gear obviously, so it's gonna bog a little bit, but you do hear the exhaust open up a little bit. Third gear pulls are fun. Let's see, wide open throttle from 6,000 RPM at third gear. Let's see where I end up. Oh yeah. 112 foot-pounds of torque, baby. It's no slouch. Just enough power for the street. It's not exactly a super powerful bike. It's only got 100 horsepower, but it's got more torque than horsepower. That's what I love about bikes like this. Alright, so I think we have arrived at nice twisty roads, and I think the lanes might split here so we can pass traffic. I'm excited to go down a few gears and squid. There we go, now it's opening up. Yeah, baby, this thing handles. awesome. Good bike. Fun road, man. Fun road. I'm sorry if I'm not talking, but I'm just enjoying the ride and the scenery. Look at the mountains in front of me. Hopefully you guys can see that. But this is the kind of terrain that we have in California, but I don't get to ride it that much, and I'm in a different state. So not only am I enjoying this ride on this beautiful Thruxton 1200 ton-up edition, special edition, but I'm enjoying this ride as well. So I got to pay attention to everything just so I can take it all in. Really fun. Good stuff.